question without an answer right now. What role did the White House, in fact, play in the production of this memo? We know how it played out several months ago when Devin Nunes made that midnight run here to the White House, when in fact he was getting help from people inside the White House. I think that's critical. Another point I would just make is how striking it has been for me covering this story over the course of this week, speaking to those officials here at the White House, and how haphazard this process has really been. Just yesterday, multiple officials told me that the White House had agreed to some redactions in the memo. Then minutes later, these same officials contacted me to say, in fact, no, we're only evaluating those redactions. We haven't, in fact, agreed to those redactions. Then by the end of the day, multiple officials said to me that, well, it turned out there were just so many requests for redactions. By the end of it, we ultimately decided, you know what, we don't think there need to be any redactions at all before ultimately providing that classified, now declassified memo back to the Hill.
Peter, that's all such great information. Also, I want to point out a couple of other things. Mark Warner, the Senate Intelligence Chair, who's been working in sync with Richard Burr. They have been remarkably bipartisan for the most part. While things have been, going really off the rails on the House side, he is calling this reckless, demonstrating an astonishing disregard for the truth. This unprecedented public disclosure of classified material during an ongoing criminal investigation is dangerous to our national security. And one other line from the Adam Schiff statement is, if potential intelligence sources know that their identities might be compromised when political winds arise, those sources of vital information will simply dry up at great cost to our national security. Chris Matthews?
Well, you have to wonder, if you look at this, how extraordinary it is that a member of Congress has behaved like an operative. Going down to the EOB and picking up that material. Well, who invited them down there? Which staffers down there had that material to give to him? And which staffers working for Nunes are really working with hand in glove with the people down there, the Trump people? There is sort of a Trump party at work here. It's not the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, or is it the legislative branch?
It's blessed by Paul Ryan. This could not have happened.
He's blessing
Paul Ryan had not let Devin Nunes run roughshod over these policies.
You know how odd this is. The fact that the legislative leadership is in fact going along with what's really sort of a staff operation. Somebody decided to use Nunes to get this information out last spring. They did it again this time. I'm very suspicious about the authorship. In fact, the way it's written, it seems like it's almost they were hired guns to go after the enemies of the president, his targets. Just listing the first item here, the first paragraph, Comey, McCabe, Rosenstein. They're the bad guys. They signed on to this one or more times, numerous times. In fact, the whole idea is trying to get the signature of these people they're trying to destroy on the document, on the FISA application. It just seems to me like a staff operation run. I'd take a very good look at this young fella, Kash Patel. I'd look at him and his background. When he apparently started over at he wanted a job at the NSC. He couldn't get one there. He ended up getting a job at Nunes. And then he's apparently working hand in glove with the people over in the Eisenhower building. This is not normal politics. There's a hit job here.
This is not normal at all. I just want to thank you, Chris, and John McLaughlin, and Matt Miller, and our whole team at the White House, Chuck Todd as well, Pete Williams, Julia Ainsley, Ken Delaney, and Mike Memley. I mean, extraordinary coverage. It's a privilege to be part of this operation, and our breaking news coverage of this unprecedented day in national security and intelligence continues on MSNBC with